Well, thank you for taking the time to sit with me, John. How to Make a Killing and your debut feature, Emily the Criminal, both focus on an individual struggling for money, turning to crime for a leg up. And I was curious, as a writer-director, where that through line comes through in your work. Where does it kind of originate?
Oh man, I'm just trying to get movies made, you know?
Yeah.
I chose to do something with my life, career-wise, that's just like really competitive and challenging. I don't know if I quite knew that's what I was signing up for at first. And so much of my adult life has been just the hustling, and against all odds trying to get this thing to work. So naturally, maybe I'm drawn to stories about people doing similar stuff.
Have you found it kind of difficult to find a breakthrough industry-wise until Emily the Criminal obviously came out and was given a lot of good praise?
Sure.
Were you struggling to kind of get projects made and just getting a lot of pushback on your ideas?
Yeah, basically, which is on brand for most other people's experience. It's not like I was the only one. Um, but yeah, yeah, it took absolutely ages to get that first movie made, and it barely happened. It was like we barely made it. So it was a miracle.
It's a great film as well. I really enjoyed it. Aubrey Plaza's fantastic in it. You're working with a fantastic cast in How to Make a Killing. You've got a Hollywood veteran in Ed Harris,
Hmm.
but then you've also got Margaret Qualley, Glen Powell, Jessica Henwick, some of the biggest rising stars coming up in Hollywood. I'm just curious how working with an ensemble like that with such an eclectic mix of talent and experience, how do you manage those kind of profiles on set, and how do you get the best performances out of them as individuals?
You're right, man. It was a privilege. It was a huge privilege to get a cast like that, um, and just some of the best people working in the business. I mean, every actor is a little different, and they each kind of have their own comfort zone. They each have their way that they like to do stuff. In terms, this movie, like Glenn, I started really early with him. He's an executive producer, and so he and I were talking about it for a long time and kind of getting comfortable with things for a long time. And then with actors like Jess Hennick, for instance, she's so experienced. She's such a great working actor that there wasn't a lot of conversation beforehand. She just kind of flew in. She had just been in this other thing, and she arrived, and suddenly we were just like working on the day and trying to get the character to work. So I don't know. It's like you just kind of figure out how to help each person as an individual, and you hope that you can do that.
Did you have any particular memories on set with any of them, especially Glenn, as having such a strong working relationship with
Hmm.
him? Was it quite satisfying to see the project come through fruition from start to end with him?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, working with Glenn just in general is great. He's an awesome collaborator. He's so hardworking. He's so focused. He's so positive. Things go wrong on a movie set all the time. They naturally do, and Glenn just kind of like just keeps heading forward. I took a lot of lessons from that. But like crazy memories from set. Well, I don't know. Like that shootout between Glenn and Ed Harris was just the craziest. That was the craziest experience. Having Ed chase him around with a shotgun and trying to shoot him. It was a lot of fun. Like that felt like we were making a movie. Like wow, we're really we're shooting movie scenes today. This is crazy.
So the film itself was made on quite a low budget, considering the action involved and also the cast that you have to work with. Do you
Yeah.
find those restrictions create challenges for you as a director, or do you find it kind of very exciting, kind of a way to find new avenues to create shots and just find new ways of doing things on
No,
set?
no one finds it exciting. Any director who says like, "Oh, it's great," they're just lying to you. No, it's really hard. When you have less money, it sucks. You have to cut corners and do things really quickly. It usually boils down to time. Like you have less time to do stuff. Now, does it force you into corners where you occasionally make a good creative decision? Sure, but you can also make great creative decisions with more money too. That's also possible. So I would just say it just makes things tougher. But you do what you do to get the movie made, no matter what. So that's how it works every time.
Is there anything from the set on How to Make a Killing that you're particularly proud of that you managed to achieve and get finished? You mentioned the shotgun scene with
Right,
between Ed Harris and Glen Powell. Was
right,
that particularly
yeah,
difficult?
yeah. That sure that had its difficulties. Yeah, I mean, part of the challenge of the movie was that the film takes place in New Jersey and New York and Long Island. It takes place in this northeast U.S. kind of world, and we shot the movie in South Africa, shot in Cape Town, South Africa, which looks nothing like any of those places. So I am satisfied with how we recreated New York in a place where that does not want to happen. Every single little thing looks slightly different. The sidewalk is a foot too narrow, and like there are no mansions. We had to rebuild. We had to build that entire thing like by hand. Like we just do it. So I don't know. I'm proud of that stuff for sure.
What was your relationship like with the production design team on set then? Obviously, as they happen to recreate so much of a New York setting in South Africa, what was
Hmm.
that like working with those departments?
That was great. It was intense. That was a big job, and it's really granular and it's really detail oriented. You have to work with these people really closely, and you begin to kind of just decode all of these things. Like we had to recreate New York, and we would go to places in Cape Town, for instance, that seemed like, okay, this seems New Yorky, but then you'd look at it and like every little thing is slightly off. It becomes this accumulation of little tiny things that are wrong. So working with the departments, it was just a process of all of us learning together how to kind of spot all those little things and diagnose them and then address them. And by the end of it, we were just like experts in turning Cape Town into New York. It's crazy.
So as you mentioned before, obviously you've been working on this project for a long time, but I don't
Yeah.
think everyone realizes just how long. So the film originally originates from your 2014 script Rothschild, which ranked at number 5 on the Blacklist,
Yeah.
and it's since been obviously renamed a couple of times. How did you find it going back to that project after so long, between Emily and the Criminal especially? Where did you kind of see the changes coming from? And also, how vital do you think the Blacklist is for aspiring writers to get their work seen and potentially made real?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, a long time passed between the writing of the initial script and the making of the movie, but I can't say that I was like working on the movie that whole time. I mean, really, it was just dormant for most of that time, and then I came back to it much later. Uh, what was it like? Um, it was a funny experience at first. I never really thought I would make that movie, and then suddenly I got the opportunity to, and I got excited about it. It was kind of like recognizing, okay, this was something I wrote when I was younger that I couldn't necessarily write now, because I've just changed now. But when I was younger, I had this a different kind of energy, and I did this thing, and I decided to kind of honor that, and not judge it. Uh, it was an interesting kind of practice. And then Blacklist, um, I'd I, I'd say the Blacklist kind of did everything for me. If I'm being honest, I got a script on there, and it led to me getting all these opportunities. I began to work as a writer as a result of that and make a living as a writer. And then the real thing is that it indirectly led to my first movie getting made. And so it's weird. You come to Hollywood, you work at it for years and years, and then all of a sudden, all it takes is one script, and suddenly there's this pathway. So can't say enough about the Blacklist.
And just one last question. So obviously in the film, Beckett goes through a lot of very crazy situations to get at this inheritance. And while many may dream of an illustrious fortune that Beckett's after, I doubt many would go to the same lengths to achieve it. So how did you kind of find an angle to make him relatable to an audience, or is there kind of a relatability in the twisted nature of the tale itself?
Um, the relatability, giving him a past and giving him some kind of weakness and some insecurity, I felt could go a pretty long ways. Um, but there's this issue in filmmaking. People always talk about likability. How do we make this character that people are going to like? And I've often felt that's a little misguided. I think audiences don't really care about someone being redeemable or someone sharing their values or someone doing nice things. They don't like a character because they see that character rescue a cat out of a tree. That's not how human beings work. I think we like a character because we believe that they're a real person. We see that they're a full human being with wants and needs and dreams and weaknesses and insecurities. And once we come to see all those things and understand all those things, we may not like them per se, but we'll be invested in them and we'll care about what happens to them and where they go. And I think that was the attitude we took with this one.